Welcome to Boss Academy Transformations. I'm your host, Paul Kirch, also the founder of Boss Academy Radio. You can find us at bossacademy.com. This show is really a supplement to Boss Academy Radio, and I don't want to downplay what it is. It's of critical importance because where entrepreneurs often fall short is not the external things in their business, because there are tools, services, coaches, solutions to help them externally. But sometimes it's the internal stuff that really gets in the way. And I'm talking about the stuff that's up between here and here and in here, the stuff that's in your head and heart. And sometimes it's the internal things that get in the way. It's not taking good care of your body, not getting enough sleep. And so I want to talk today a little bit about a message that Alex Sharfin, he is the founder of Personality Types. He's an amazing guy and somebody I've grown to have a lot of respect for. I had him on my show, Boss Academy Radio. And, the thing I learned about him is he is not afraid to put himself out there, be vulnerable, share his story. And he had a post today. He did a nice video that was talking about how vulnerability helps create momentum. And it was so timely because I have been in a situation for the last 2 weeks where I've dealt with countless number of technology issues. I actually own a web development company, and I don't do the hosting. So I host through another service, but several of our websites got hit with malware. We actually had a situation where we had to move to another host, go through a process of cleaning these sites. And it's not a slam on anything we did from the technology side, but it's proof positive that anything can happen at the wrong time. If you think in terms of technology, there's hackers out there trying to kill things. These were WordPress sites that got hit. Our HTML5 stuff wasn't impacted. But somebody told me, they said, you know what? That happened for a reason, and it's not the reason you think. I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, you got attacked with malware because of where you are in your head right now. And I thought, man, that's really interesting. And I said, so you mean karma attracted this to me? And she goes, well, think about it. She goes, with things being stressful for you and your business not necessarily being where you want it to be, don't you think that maybe there's something to be said about how all these negative things keep happening? I thought, well, that's interesting. And she said, you need to break free of that. You need to find a better frame of mind and get yourself clear. And so I saw Alex's message and I thought, he's right. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, we bottle all this stuff up inside and we think, we're used to solving all of the problems. We're used to being the ones that are the bottleneck for everything. We're used to being the ones that carry all that weight at home with us and lay in bed stressing about things. Things aren't happening in the business. It's upon us. We're the ones worried about making payroll. And so I thought, you know what? Why don't I share that message with you? Why don't I share that it's okay to be vulnerable? It's okay to let your guard down and share what's happening with trusted colleagues, with a coach, with a mastermind group, or with my audience. Because at the end of the day, vulnerability is something that entrepreneurs don't practice enough. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not afraid to put myself out there, but I just don't take that option very often because I'm so busy doing. But sometimes it's in the doing that we're not getting things done. And by that, I mean, sometimes we get fixated on doing because it makes us feel good, but we're not doing the things that really get us to our goal. We're not doing the things that help us get to where we want to be. So what I've started doing again is going back to the drawing board. And I mean, literally, I've got a whiteboard in my office and I've been doing planning. It's November right now. Whenever you listen to this, I mean, it may be in July of 2017 or something like that, because this episode's not going away, but it's November 11th, 2015, Veterans Day. And I'm sitting in front of my whiteboard, kind of mapping out what I want to get done. But I started with an important aspect, not what, not where, not when, but why. Why do I want to do this? Why is Boss Academy so important to me? Why is Boss Academy going to change the lives of so many entrepreneurs? And why is it my mission to be the one who gets us there? Once I define that, then I focus on what I want to accomplish, where I want to go, when I want to get it done, and how I'm going to do it. And so getting clarity on all those elements is important. But I don't want to get fixated on a big to-do list at the end, because what happens with to-do lists is we don't make them a priority. We start doing, and then the day comes to an end and we're like, oh, we'll just move this to the next day. But every time you move it, it becomes less of a priority. And then it's more about just getting things done and not necessarily getting things done the right way that are going to help you reach your goals. So when it comes to planning, it's so important that we think in terms of getting clear on what we want to do and why we want to do it, and then focusing on breaking it into silos of, okay, I'm going to work on this now, and here's why, and here's what I need to get done, and the timeline. But don't create just a bunch of to-do lists for the sake of saying that you're busy. Because if at the end of the day, you want to be able to say, oh, look what I checked off on my list, how many things I got done, I'm so important, but then you wonder why you're not getting anywhere. Well, it's important that you don't fall into that trap. A good friend of mine, Rajesh Sethi, who is somebody who inspires me. He's an amazing entrepreneur, amazing author. He's a mentor and friend of mine. He actually wrote a book on gratitude, and it's an amazing book. And one of the things that he talks about is taking time to create think lists. So what does that mean? So if I want to do something, I'm going to put it on my to think list, and I'm going to sit down and meditate or spend some time just really focusing on getting clear on what it is I want to do, what kind of hurdles I might face, and just make it something that allows you to get in touch with the inner part of you that says, I can do this. I get it. I'm on board. Because otherwise it's just a task. It's just an idea. So he spends time thinking, and he creates literally to think lists instead of just living in the to-do list world, which a lot of us fall into the trap of doing, because that's the stuff that's easy to do, and it makes us feel fulfilled for a limited time. Because at the end of the day, what frustrates us is we're not reaching goals. We're not reaching outcomes. I'm not saying you don't have to-do lists, because it's just part of life. But if that's all you're consumed by, you're not really doing the kind of planning that I think you need to do in your business. So focus on why you want to do it, what you want to accomplish from it, where you think it's going to take you, and when. And then break down parts of that process into timelines built around those same things. Why, what, where, when. And then get those things done and just move in sequential order until you get there. It's easier said than done, but doing it is going to help you find a lot of clarity. And don't be afraid to get somebody else involved. Now, I'm not a big fan of just finding sounding boards for the sake of sounding boards, because if you bounce ideas off the wrong people that don't understand, that can't relate, they're going to shoot your idea down 9 times out of 10, and then you're going to feel demotivated. So find people that can relate. If you're an entrepreneur, find other entrepreneurs. Get yourself surrounded by other people that are in the same type of, not necessarily area of business, but the same type of business that can understand your challenges. And that's why masterminds can be so critical. But if you find yourself surrounded by people that are shooting down everything you say you want to do and giving you a million reasons why it won't work, and you find that derailing you, then maybe you need to find another group of people, or maybe you need to sit down and make your own to think list and spend some time reflecting on why it really is something you want to do. Now, we've all had great ideas that don't get followed through on. I've had, $1 million ideas. I've had $1 billion ideas. In fact, on my whiteboard alone, I've got a couple of ideas that I think are huge. But if I don't take action in the moment, what happens is I lose momentum and lose focus. So taking action now is critical. So after this episode's over, I hope you take time to write down your why, your what, your where, and your when, and take some simple action, even if it means creating a list of things that you need to do as the next steps, and then putting some priorities around those. It's a huge starting point, because what happens is we lose momentum and we start to talk ourselves out of things that are great ideas. We can convince ourselves, if we haven't taken action, why an idea is going to be more work, more stress. Wow, people really aren't going to buy into that. Yeah, it was a great idea. But if you really believe in it, take some action right then and there and get some momentum built up. Momentum is the key. And according to Alex, and I believe him, because I think it's true, vulnerability creates momentum. So don't be afraid to share and get someone else involved, because you don't have to go it alone as an entrepreneur. So hopefully this helps you. Boss Academy Transformations, like I said, it's a sister show to Boss Academy Radio. Boss Academy Radio, we bring in amazing guests, amazing thought leaders, and you definitely don't want to miss it. We're out on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and of course at bossacademy.com. Boss Academy Transformations is really focusing on the stuff that's going to help you with the body, the mind, and the spirit. Before we close, one of the things I want to tell you is taking care of your body is critical. I have struggled with weight. I mean, I used to be a skinny kid, and even through my 20s and early 30s, I was skinny. And then I started to put on weight, and then it's been something that I've always struggled with. But making time to exercise, right now I'm standing. I have a desk that raises and lowers. Standing alone creates the opportunity to burn calories and keeps your energy level up. I don't drink coffee during the day. I don't have a need for it. Even though I used to drink coffee all the time and I used to be exhausted and I'd want to take a nap. I don't do that anymore because I stand a good part of my day. And when I do get tired, what do? I go for a walk. I go do some push-ups. I do something to keep myself physically moving forward, keep that heart rate up, and focus on the stuff that really is going to help keep this thing up here sharp. Because if your body's falling apart, it's really hard to feel good about anything and feel good about taking momentum. So once again, my name is Paul Kirch, host and founder of Boss Academy Radio and Boss Academy Transformations, and you can find us out at bossacademy.com. Thanks again. I hope you have an amazing day. And remember, Boss is all about business, ownership, success strategies. Let us be the last boss you'll ever need. Take care.